Hello, I'm Dr. Liana, and I want to share something that I've discovered through studying nutritional neuroscience and cognitive optimization over the past 25 years. There's a specific food that, when consumed 3 times per week, provides extraordinary support for your brain cells and mental clarity. This food contains compounds that are almost impossible to obtain from other sources. These compounds directly support the health of your neurons, improve synaptic plasticity, enhance memory formation, and protect against cognitive decline. Yet, the vast majority of people never consume this food or consume it so infrequently that they receive minimal cognitive benefit. When you commit to eating this food 3 times per week, you're making one of the most powerful investments in your long-term cognitive health and mental clarity. The food I'm talking about is wild-caught salmon, specifically the wild-caught varieties rather than farmed salmon. I want to be clear about this distinction because it matters significantly for cognitive health. Wild-caught salmon contains specific nutrient profiles that farmed salmon simply doesn't contain. The omega-3 fatty acid content is higher in wild-caught salmon. The astaxanthin content is significantly higher. The micronutrient density is superior. When you consume wild-caught salmon 3 times per week, you're providing your brain with compounds that directly support cognitive function and protect against age-related cognitive decline. Let me explain the neurobiology of why wild-caught salmon is so uniquely powerful for brain health. Your brain is composed largely of fat. Approximately 60% of your brain's dry weight is fat. This fat is not random. It has specific structure and composition. The membranes of your neurons are composed primarily of phospholipids, which are fats. The myelin that insulates your nerve cells is composed of fats. Your synapses, the connections between neurons, are dependent on proper lipid composition. When your brain doesn't have adequate high-quality fats, these structures deteriorate. Your neurons become less efficient. Your synapses become less plastic. Your cognitive function declines. Wild-caught salmon is extraordinarily rich in omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These are the longest-chain omega-3 fatty acids, and they're what your brain preferentially uses. Your brain cannot efficiently synthesize EPA and DHA from shorter-chain omega-3 sources, like ALA from plant sources. You need to consume them directly from food sources. EPA and DHA are structural components of your neuronal membranes. They influence the fluidity of your cell membranes, which affects how efficiently your neurons can fire. They reduce inflammation in your brain. They support the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is a compound essential for brain cell growth and survival. They protect against oxidative damage. They support the formation of new neural connections, which is essential for memory and learning. Beyond omega-3 fatty acids, wild-caught salmon contains astaxanthin, a powerful antioxidant that gives salmon its pink color. Astaxanthin is one of the most powerful antioxidants found in nature. It's approximately 500 times more powerful than vitamin E at protecting against oxidative damage. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, meaning it directly protects your brain from oxidative stress. Astaxanthin reduces neuroinflammation. It protects mitochondria from oxidative damage. It supports cognitive function and protects against cognitive decline. This compound is found primarily in wild-caught salmon and other seafood. You cannot obtain meaningful amounts of astaxanthin from other food sources. I had a patient named David who was 67 years old. He was experiencing progressive cognitive decline. His memory was declining. His mental clarity was declining. He was having difficulty with complex thinking. He was worried about developing Alzheimer's disease. When I assessed his diet, he was consuming very little omega-3 rich foods. He rarely ate fish. His brain was starving for the fats it needed to maintain optimal structure and function. When I introduced wild-caught salmon into his diet, specifically 3 times per week, his results were remarkable. He prepared the salmon simply, baking it with lemon and herbs. Within 2 weeks, his mental clarity had improved noticeably. Within 4 weeks, his cognitive function had improved substantially. His memory had improved. He could concentrate better. His thinking felt faster. Within 8 weeks, his cognitive function had improved so dramatically that he felt like a different person. He had energy. He had mental clarity. He had the ability to engage in complex thinking without the mental fatigue he'd been experiencing. The transformation was driven by providing his brain with the omega-3 fatty acids and astaxanthin that his neurons needed. Beyond omega-3 fats and astaxanthin, wild-caught salmon contains other compounds that support brain health. It contains vitamin D, which is critical for cognitive function and is deficient in most people. It contains selenium, which supports antioxidant defense. It contains B vitamins that support energy production in your brain cells. It contains choline, which is a precursor for acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter critical for memory. It contains CoQ10, which supports mitochondrial energy production. The combination of all these compounds working together creates powerful cognitive support. Now, I want to be specific about the preparation, because how you prepare salmon affects its cognitive benefits. The optimal preparation is to cook salmon gently at moderate temperatures. High heat cooking can damage the delicate omega-3 fats. The best methods are baking at 375 to 400 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes, steaming or gentle pan frying. Season with sea salt, pepper, and herbs like dill, rosemary, or thyme. Avoid deep frying, which destroys omega-3 fats and introduces inflammatory vegetable oils. Additionally, consume the entire piece of salmon, including the skin if possible. The skin contains significant amounts of astaxanthin and omega-3 fats. If you don't like the texture of salmon skin, you can cook the salmon skin on and then remove the skin before eating, but you'll lose some of the beneficial compounds. Alternatively, you can eat the salmon skin if it's from a high-quality, wild-caught source. The frequency of consumption is important. 3 times per week appears to be the optimal frequency for maintaining sustained cognitive support. A single serving of salmon once monthly won't provide meaningful cognitive benefit. But 3 servings per week creates sustained availability of omega-3 fatty acids and astaxanthin for your brain cells. Your brain cells are constantly remodeling and incorporating new fats into their membranes. Consistent provision of these high-quality fats ensures your brain maintains optimal structure and function. I worked with a patient named Margaret who was 64 years old. She was experiencing brain fog and difficulty with memory. She had been a sharp person intellectually, and she was frustrated by her declining cognitive function. When I explained the cognitive benefits of wild-caught salmon, she was interested. She started consuming wild-caught salmon 3 times per week, prepared simply with lemon and herbs. Within 3 weeks, her mental clarity had improved noticeably. The brain fog she'd been experiencing had decreased. Within 6 weeks, her memory had improved. She was remembering details better. Her ability to think through complex problems had improved. Within 2 months, her cognitive function had improved substantially. She felt like herself again. She had mental energy. She had clarity. She was thinking faster and more efficiently. The improvement stemmed from providing her brain with the omega-3 fatty acids and other nutrients that salmon provides. What's remarkable about this intervention is how quickly your brain responds. Unlike some interventions that require months of consistent effort to see results, cognitive improvement from salmon consumption can be noticeable within 2 to 3 weeks. This is because omega-3 fatty acids directly support neuronal function. Your brain cells incorporate these fats into their membranes. They use them to modulate synaptic transmission. They use them to support mitochondrial function. The improvement is relatively immediate. Beyond the direct neuronal benefits, consuming salmon 3 times per week provides indirect cognitive benefits. When you consume nutrient-dense foods like salmon, you're not consuming processed foods that damage your brain. You're not consuming foods with refined carbohydrates that create glucose oscillations that impair cognitive function. You're not consuming foods with vegetable oils that promote neuroinflammation. You're making space in your diet for foods that actively support cognitive function. This dietary shift has cascading benefits. I want to tell you about the ideal protocol for using salmon to support brain cells and mental clarity. Consume wild-caught salmon 3 times per week. Each serving should be approximately 4 to 6 ounces. Prepare it gently by baking, steaming, or pan frying. Serve it with vegetables that also support cognitive function, such as broccoli, Brussels sprouts, leafy greens, or other nutrient-dense vegetables. The vegetables complement the salmon and provide additional antioxidants and nutrients that support brain health. The timing of salmon consumption doesn't matter significantly from a cognitive standpoint. Some people consume salmon at breakfast, some consume it at lunch, some consume it at dinner. The key is consistency. Choose a schedule you can maintain and commit to it. Perhaps Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Perhaps Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Choose whatever schedule fits your lifestyle. Beyond salmon consumption, there are complementary foods that enhance cognitive support. Berries, particularly blueberries and blackberries, provide polyphenols that protect your brain from oxidative damage. Leafy greens provide folate and other nutrients that support cognitive function. Nuts and seeds provide additional omega-3 fatty acids and minerals. Dark chocolate provides compounds that support cognitive function. Olive oil, consumed with vegetables, provides polyphenols that reduce neuroinflammation. When you combine salmon consumption with these other nutrient-dense foods, you're creating optimal support for your cognitive function. I had another patient named James, who was 72 years old. He was experiencing age-related cognitive decline that he'd accepted as inevitable. His memory wasn't as sharp as it used to be. His thinking felt slower. He'd resigned himself to cognitive decline as part of aging. When I explained that consuming salmon 3 times per week could significantly improve his cognitive function, he was skeptical but willing to try. He started consuming wild-caught salmon 3 times per week, prepared simply with olive oil, lemon, and herbs. He served it with steamed vegetables. Within 4 weeks, his cognitive function had improved noticeably. His memory was better. His thinking felt faster. His mental clarity had improved. Within 2 months, he felt like he was thinking more clearly than he had in years. His cognitive function had improved substantially. He was experiencing what optimal cognitive aging looks like. His brain was receiving the support it needed to maintain sharp cognitive function well into his 70s. What I want to emphasize is that cognitive decline is not inevitable. You don't have to accept declining mental clarity, declining memory, and reduced cognitive sharpness as you age. These are often consequences of inadequate nutrition. When you provide your brain with the omega-3 fatty acids and antioxidants that salmon provides, your brain responds by functioning better. Now, I want to address something about sourcing. When purchasing salmon, specifically seek wild-caught salmon rather than farmed salmon. Wild-caught salmon has superior omega-3 content. It has significantly higher astaxanthin content. It has a healthier nutrient profile. Farmed salmon, while containing some omega-3 fatty acids, is often raised in crowded conditions with antibiotics and pesticides. The nutrient density is inferior. The cognitive benefit is substantially less. Wild-caught salmon costs more, but the cognitive benefit is worth the investment. Additionally, ensure you're purchasing from reputable sources. Wild-caught Alaskan salmon, wild-caught Pacific salmon, and wild-caught Atlantic salmon are all good options. Avoid farmed salmon. Avoid salmon from questionable sources. Purchase from grocery stores that clearly label their salmon as wild-caught, or purchase from specialty fish markets or online suppliers that specialize in wild-caught seafood. I want to tell you about one more patient, because her story exemplifies what's possible when you consistently support your brain through salmon consumption. Her name was Patricia, and she was 69 years old. She was experiencing significant cognitive decline. Her memory was declining. She had difficulty with complex thinking. She felt mentally foggy most of the time. She was worried about her cognitive future. Her family had suggested cognitive testing to assess for dementia. But before accepting that diagnosis, she wanted to try nutritional approaches. I explained the cognitive support that wild-caught salmon provides. I explained how omega-3 fatty acids directly support neuronal function. I explained how astaxanthin protects her brain from oxidative damage. She committed to consuming wild-caught salmon 3 times per week. She also committed to other brain-supporting interventions, including adequate sleep, regular exercise, and stress management. Within 4 weeks, her mental clarity had improved. The brain fog she'd been experiencing had decreased. Within 2 months, her cognitive function had improved substantially. Her memory had improved. Her ability to think through complex problems had improved. Her family noticed that she seemed sharper and more mentally engaged. Within 3 months, her cognitive function had improved so dramatically that she felt like a different person. She was sharp. She was mentally vibrant. She was experiencing optimal cognitive function at age 69. Her brain was receiving the support it needed to age well. Here's what I want you to do starting this week. Purchase wild-caught salmon from your grocery store or fish market. Choose a preparation method that appeals to you. Simple baking with lemon and herbs is the most straightforward and preserves the most nutrients. Decide on 3 days per week when you'll consume salmon. Write these days on your calendar. Make it a commitment. Prepare your first salmon meal this week. Notice how you feel after consuming it. Track your cognitive function over the coming weeks. Notice when your mental clarity improves. Notice when your memory becomes sharper. Notice when your ability to concentrate improves. Notice when afternoon mental fog decreases. By week 3, you should notice improvement in your cognitive function. By week 8, the improvement should be substantial. Additionally, share this information with someone you care about who's experiencing cognitive decline or memory problems. They might be starving their brain of the omega-3 fatty acids it needs without realizing it. They might be accepting cognitive decline as inevitable, when in reality, it could be prevented and reversed through nutritional choices. By sharing this, you might help them maintain their cognitive function and mental clarity well into their later years. If this information was valuable, subscribe to this channel for science-based health strategies specifically designed for protecting and optimizing cognitive function. Hit the like button so this video reaches more people who need to understand that cognitive decline is not inevitable and can be prevented through nutritional choices. Check out my other videos on brain health, cognitive optimization, and nutritional neuroscience. Your cognitive function is determined largely by the nutrients you provide your brain. Wild-caught salmon contains compounds that are uniquely supportive of brain health. When you consume wild-caught salmon 3 times per week, you're supporting your brain cells at the molecular level. You're maintaining mental clarity. You're protecting against cognitive decline. You're supporting healthy cognitive aging. Start this week. Purchase wild-caught salmon. Begin the protocol. Experience what optimal cognitive function feels like. Thank you for watching.